Hello, and thank you for joining me with Sit Down with Johnny. We haven't done Sit Down with Johnny for a while, but I thought it'd be a good idea to do it today because we saw something very strange last night, and it was very strange. I mean, I've had many years of gazing at the stars in an astronomical way with telescopes and such like. So I'm kind of used to looking at certain phenomena. I've seen strange things in the past, but you can always work out afterwards what they were. For example, I saw a massive meteorite going back early 90s, and it was huge, and it went across the sky and it bounced off the atmosphere, and it was reported in the news at the time and things like that. So when we first see things, it can be like, oh gosh, that's strange, don't know what that is, but you can kind of, with retrospect, work out what it was you probably saw. What we saw last night, I can't work it out at all. Don't want to jump to any conclusions, obviously, but it was a very strange craft that we saw in the sky that was there for a good 10 minutes. I'll show you the footage in a minute. The footage doesn't do justice because, you know, these phones and stuff, it's great with great lighting conditions and with optimum settings and stuff like that, but point it up into the night sky and yeah, it's hard to get objects floating around and flying around in the night sky. It's hard to get a good high resolution image. The interesting thing that I think I need to say is, when I first saw it, I thought it was travelling in the trajectory of the ISS, the International Space Station. Then I realised that it was out by quite a lot, actually. It was just my initial thought, because when you see the ISS pass over and it's high and bright, if it's coming through cloud, it kind of gives the same effect of what we saw last night, but there was absolutely no cloud. The stars, the backdrop of stars was totally clear. I mean, they're one of the clearest nights we've had for a very long time. And so it made it all the stranger that this light started off quite sharp, like a sort of, almost like a banana shape, like a curved back with a slightly fuzzy front, like headlights in fog. Bear in mind, there's no cloud up there, it's totally clear. And then, as it travelled overhead, and I ran round from the back of the house to where Matt and Tom was, it was the end of games night and they were out in the car park, it got fuzzier and fuzzier at the front. The back was still there, this sort of arced back to it, you know, surmising some kind of metallic craft, but it's really hard to say what it was. The closest thing I've seen to this would be, remember Hale-Bopp, the comet, when it came close? But it comes close over a number of weeks and months, and then it slowly disappears and you don't actually see it moving, it just hangs there in the sky. It was kind of that sort of fuzziness coming out towards the front, like, you know, when you get the tail of the comet going towards the sun. But as I say, it wasn't a comet because, first of all, there was no record of a comet last night or coming towards us over the course of a few weeks and a few months. There's no recorded document of a comet coming overhead at this time. But also, it was moving, you could see it moving, whereas with a comet, you never actually see it moving. It was moving very slow, but methodical. And it went very fuzzy, as I say, on the front. I'm saying it's the front. The way that it was moving, it went fuzzy at the front, what it was moving into, the space it was moving into. And it stopped when it was overhead. It come to a stop very slowly, stopped, paused, and then very slowly moved on towards the distance. Now, what would it have been? Over towards the orchards, over that way. So we're talking, let me get my bearings, west. I think I've got that right. Out towards the west. And then it just went into a real fuzzy, big blob, like it had no form. It looked like a cloud. We watched it happen, transform from a light with the fuzziness at the front to just a cloud that was hanging there. And it was there for probably about 10 minutes in total. And then slowly got dimmer and dimmer and totally disappeared. And it was just like, we all agreed that this was a very strange thing. Matt was there. So hello Matt, if you're watching. Very strange. And I suppose I'm doing this video in order to ask anyone if this could be a natural thing in any way. It did seem to have structure to it within the fuzziness and towards the back of the fuzziness. But bear in mind there's no clouds, and there was a kind of fuzzy oval light going out in the direction it was moving. Could this be anything that you recognise? It was Vicky actually said, could it be one of those massive drones? And we've seen a drone come down when it malfunctioned at Bishop's Castle, and it was huge. It scraped over the chimney tops, and it was a massive thing, and it looked really unusual. There's some strange things up there that just fly around, and they do whatever they do with that. I think at the time they were monitoring fuel that people were burning in their open fires, their log burners and that sort of thing. And these things just stay up for days sometimes. They're solar panelled, I think, powered by the sun. But when it came down because of a malfunction, it was massive. Now, could it have been a type of drone? Did it sort of not really stop, but did it just almost pause, or maybe an up current of air and then carry on? I don't know. It didn't look like a drone. And as I say, it was a clear night. I'm not sure why a drone with a light coming out the front would create a fuzziness in the sky, like a fuzzy white light that didn't keep shining out. It was like an egg shape. It was the strangest thing, like an illuminated cloud in front of it as it was travelling. But does this sound like anything that you've seen in the night sky? Anybody watching that's technical, that knows about drones and military stuff, could this be anything military? Does it sound like anything that you know about? We'd be interested to know, because I've just drawn blanks. First thing I did, obviously, was look at the ISS trajectory for tonight, or last night, and the days before and the days to come, just to see if it came at anywhere near the time, which was exactly 12 o'clock actually. Was the ISS due to travel overhead at 12 o'clock, midnight? And it wasn't. It's something like 6 o'clock in the evening and 4:30 in the morning. So it was nowhere near the ISS time, but it was that sort of brightness. So I looked at other satellites as well. There's satellite charts, there's debris up there that's flying around. Could it have been anything? And it didn't actually triangulate with anything that we know is up there that's being tracked all the time by NASA to make sure that, you know, nothing goes wrong. So what was this thing that we saw, this strange light in the sky? If you recognise it at all from the footage, which I know is bad, but at least we got something, please let us know. We'd just be really interested to know what this thing was that we all witnessed. Well, 3 of us witnessed it, Tom, Matt and myself. Interesting. Doesn't correlate with anything that I know from an astronomical point of view. I don't know what it could be. Could it be something military? Well, thank you for joining me for Sit Down with Johnny. I'll be doing another Sit Down with Johnny when something unusual happens in the heavens. Actually, next Friday at 12 o'clock, I'm going to go out and I'm going to have another look and see if whatever it was, maybe visitors from another place, might come back to say hi. Thanks guys, have a great day, whatever you're doing. Bye for now, bye bye now, bye bye.